2, 3, 4. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada's fame is spread all over those three words. You sing this every day in Guru Puja, right? Your fame is spread all over the three words. True? You sing that. So, just before I start lecturing, there was a cartoon on the internet. There were two dogs watching television. One dog says to the other, Prabhupada was on television. He said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's Srila Prabhupada." He said, "Even a dog can sing and dance in Kirtan." The dog said to the other, Prabhupada says, "Even a dog can sing and dance in Kirtan." So his fame is spread all over the three worlds, even in the dog society. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah. You know, I have this verse on my computer. Yeah, leave it like this. Good, perfect. Anagrita-dali dukham grame yatachila Gopalera agiloka aniyadarila Anagrita-dali dukham grame yatachila Gopalera agiloka aniyadarila. Somebody. Anagata dali dukha grame yatachila Gopalera agailoke aliyadarila. Yeah, somebody. Anagrita dadi dukta gramaya radila Gopalera agailoke aliyadarila. Ladies? Lady? Anagrita dadi dukha grame
Gopalera agiloka aniyadarila.
Ana, food grain. Grita, ghee, or clarified butter. Dadi, yogurt. Dukta, milk. Grame, grame, in the village. Yata, as much. Chila, as there was. Gopalera, age, before the deity of Gopal. Loka, all people. Aniya, bringing. Darila, placed. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Inhabitants of the village brought to the deity Gopal as much food, grains, ghee, yogurt and milk as they had in the village. Purport. Anagrita, dadi, dudha are food grains, ghee, yogurt and milk. Actually, these are the bases of food. Vegetables and fruits are subsidiary. Hundreds and thousands of preparations can be made out of these grains, vegetables, ghee, milk and yogurt. The food offered to Gopal in the Anukuta ceremony obtained only these 5 ingredients. Only demoniac people are attracted to other types of food. which will not even be mentioned in this connection. We should understand that in order to prepare nutritious food, we require only grains, ghee, yogurt and milk. We cannot offer anything else to the deity. The Vaishnava, the perfect human being, does not accept anything not offered to the deity. People are often frustrated with national food policies, but from the Vedic scriptures we find that if there are sufficient cows and grains, entire food problem is solved. The Vaishyas, people engaged in agriculture and commerce, are therefore recommended in the Bhagavad Gita to produce grains and give protection to cows. Cows are the most important animal because they produce a miracle food, milk, from which they can prepare ghee and yogurt. Perfection of human civilization depends on Krishna consciousness, which recommends daily worship. Preparations from vegetables, grains, milk and yogurt and ghee are offered to the deity and then distributed. Here we can see the difference between the East and the West. The people who came to see the deity of Gopal brought all kinds of food to offer to the deity. They brought all these foods that in stock, and they came before the deity not only to accept prasadam but for themselves, but also to distribute to others. The Krishna conscious movement vigorously approves this practice of preparing food, offering to the deity and distributing to the general population. This activity should be extended universally to stop sinful eating habits as well as other behavior befitting only demons. Demonic civilization will never bring peace within the world. Since eating is the first necessity in human society, those engaged in solving the problems of preparing and distributing food should take lesson from Mother Vendapuri and execute the Anakuta ceremony. When people take to eating only prasadam offered to the deity, all the demons will turn into Vaishnava. And the people are Krishna conscious, naturally the government will also be. Krishna conscious man is always very liberal, well-wisher of everyone. When such men head the government, the people will certainly be sinless. We no longer be disturbing demons. It is then and then only that a peaceful condition can prevail in society. Om Agyantamidandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakatamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasili Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So, Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that Patram Pushpam Palam To Yam. If one offers me love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, water, I will accept it. Because Krishna likes that type of food. Everybody has some liking in terms of food. What's he like? My liking, I like all the foods, I like Shrikant the best. Somebody likes gulab jam. Brahmananda liked gulab jam so much that he ate in one meal 82 gulab jams. Wow. I mean, he had to be, 82, he had to be carried upstairs. He loved gulab jams. And so he had a liking, I have a liking, you have a liking. I'm sure every one of you have asked, what is your favorite food? What is your favorite preparation? Everybody has some favorite. Because in the Bible also, I come from a Christian background, it says man is created according to the image of God. Very clearly in Genesis. It's very clear that man is created according to the image of God. That means God has form. Right there in the Bible. Right there, far beyond the Mayavadi conclusion. God has a form, and God has naturally preferences, and he likes this type of food. Not all. I remember I went one time to, what was this place, Manali, and there's a temple of Hidimba, Rakshasi. It was a sister of the demon, Rakshasa, right? And a man-eater. And Arjuna killed him. Actually, he was fighting with Arjuna. He asked his sister to lure Arjuna to come because he wanted to kill him and he wanted to eat him. And so Arjuna fought with him, and the demon was superior. Then Hidimba, because she was in love with Arjuna, she transferred her mystic power to Arjuna, and then he was able to kill the demon. And she is worshipped there, this lady is worshipped there, that married the Pandavas. And I went there one time early in the morning. We were in Manali, it's very close to Manali, beautiful temple in the middle of nowhere, and there were a large amount of people there in the early morning hours, and they were offering animals. And there was a huge vat in front of the goddess, the heads of animals. And there was a little pipeline going out of the temple. And one man came to me, old man with a beard, and he said, "You should drink that." I said, "What is it?" He said, "God's prasadam." It was blood. So I said to Prabhu, "I'm fasting today." So, I cannot take. So you see, people eat different types of food. Different types of food, but Krishna's food is important, what Krishna likes, and we have to serve Krishna favorably. This was Anya Vilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Anavitam. Anukulena Krishna Nu, according to Krishna's desire. Karma, Jnana, free from karma and jnana. That is the idea. What does Krishna like? And also in Bhagavatam, it is says that even the whole Varnashram Dharmas, Ata Pumbi Dvija Shesta Varnashram Bhagasa Svanustita Dharmasya Sam Siddhi Haritoshanam is to please God. Whatever gives Krishna blessing, whole Varnashram Dharma system is based on this formula to please Krishna, not ourselves. And that means we have to offer food which is favorable to Krishna. Please. See, originally I come from a Christian family. Parents were pious. And I convinced my mother, because I had a very nice relationship to my mother, particularly. She was going to church every day. And I convinced her to become a vegetarian. She became vegetarian. Said, "This is killing animals, causing violence. You know how terrible that is. Violence breeds violence." It's a saying word in Germany. So she became a vegetarian. And the priest heard about it. And he preached to her, said, "Vegetarianism is demonic. Only demons eat fruit and vegetables." And she went back to meat eating. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, they consider religion to be irreligion and irreligion to be religion. That is religion in the mode of darkness. Religion in the mode of darkness. That vegetarianism is demonic. So, if you look, since we are at this subject, if you look into the Bible, the first thing God preaches to mankind, "I give you the fruit of the field and the fruit of the trees, that shall be your meat," your food. Very clearly stated. "I give you the fruits of the field and the fruit of the trees, that shall be your meat," means in the old sense food. That should be your food. Kreos is the Hebrew word. That should be a kreos. Kreos means food. It's translated nowadays as meat, but it means food. So even there you find that originally the intention is very clear, that we should eat the fruit of the fields and the fruit of the trees. That's Krishna conscious food. You know, so everybody has a part to play. Krishna is very pleased if there's Varnashram. But how do we practice Varnashram? Varnashram starts with a family. It's the smallest particle or building block of society, the family. It's a nucleus. A nucleus is that in a cell, that part that gives information to the rest of the cell, how to build a cell. All the informations, all the instructions are in the nucleus. The nucleus of Varnashram Dharma is a family. And Arjuna clearly says when the family tradition falls, then a hellish situation is created, Varna, Shankara, etc. You read in Bhagavad Gita, it's not my opinion. It is not my opinion. It's clearly stated even by Arjuna. So Varnashram Dharma begins that everybody plays his role. Even when Krishna was on this planet, he would bow down in front of Yudhishthira. He would embrace Arjuna because they were in Sakya. And he would take obeisances, accept obeisance from Nakula and Sahadev because they were younger. So even Lord Krishna, he says in Bhagavad, I have no duties to fulfill. And still, I follow Dharma because otherwise the world will be misled. So it's very important that we have to play our roles. Yes, I know we're not the body, we are a spirit soul. Ultimately, that's true. The king is a soul, the dog is a soul. But you don't put the king and the dog on the same Vyasasana. You don't, on the same asana. There's similarity there. A dog house has 4 walls and a roof and a door. King's palace has 4 walls, a roof, and a door. But that's where the similarity ends. There's similarity and there's difference. So yes, we are all souls, we are all one in that sense. But we are also different according to our present conditioning. We are in different forms. The men, women, whatever, we are Brahminical people or Kshatriya people or whatever, we have to act according to our Dharma. It's very important. And it starts with the family. It starts with the family. And if the family disintegrates, it's not Krishna's desire. To please God. Krishna's desire is that there is Paka family. The husband plays his role, the wife plays her role. The roles are described very clearly in Shastra. I have never heard in my whole life, honestly, I can say in front of the deity, I've never heard in my whole life an argument between my mother and my father. They were Christians, but the roles were cut in stone. He's the husband, the husband, the husband, the husband, and the husband. And she's a wife. Simple. Very simple. And the whole family was living in harmony. We were 7 children. Living in a family with 7 children means like living in a zoo. As always, I was always fighting with my brother, and I still fight. He still is the older brother, and the older brother knows everything, and the younger brother knows nothing. Right? But there was peace in the house because the roles were very clearly, the children, they have role models like this. Prabhupada said one time that a preacher should have the heart of a Bengali mother and the courage of a British gentleman. How do you get a heart of a mother when the mother is a terrorist and fighting with the husband all the time? Right? You can't. It's impossible. You know, it's impossible. There will be no peace in society. A dysfunctional family means the end of civilization. And you see this in India. It's coming into India via Hollywood, Bollywood. And the families break apart and divorce is the next step. Unavoidable. Unavoidable. So, these things are not what Krishna wants. And these things won't last because Satyam Eva Jayati. Even in one lifetime, it is seen that the roles are very important to play to create peace and prosperity in society. That's the meaning of Varnashram Dharma. And so, let me just go down here. Lord Chaitanya, he exemplified the mood of Radharani, who is the best servant of all. The best servant of all. I remember when you go to the Vrindavan temple, what do you see? How many people in front of Gaur-Nitai? 1, 2, 3. How many people Krishna Balaram? 5, 6, 7. How many people in front of Radhisham? 150,000. This is not our philosophy. Our philosophy is that Radha Krishna are telling us, I'm involved in my Leela and should worship me in awe and veneration, in Aishwarya. Don't ask me anything. If you're in Aishwarya, you don't ask anything. You go to, I came as Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. Prabhupada, when he installed the deities, he said in Vrindavan, now your problems are solved. You go to Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. Don't go to Radha Krishna. Janani was made the same, or Pankaj Prabhu made the same point one time. He said Radha Krishna, Radha Madhava are very difficult to worship, very high level. So don't bother them with your prayers. I have particularly come in the form of Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, or in the form, as a matter of fact, of Lord Nrsimhadev. The prayer Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimha Tamase Te Avira Vibha Vajra Naka Vajra Damsra Karamasam, peace with your nails and your teeth destroy my lusty desires. Rana Tamo, drive away the darkness in my heart. That's Lord Nrsimhadev. We don't ask Radha Krishna for that. I one time asked one of the girls that were standing in front of Radhisham. I said, what are you praying for? I want to become a gopi. I want to become a gopi. The gopis were manifestation of the internal energy of God. That's the highest of the highest of the highest of the highest. Our acharyas, they don't pray like that. They pray, let me be an atom at your lotus feet. Let me be a piece of grass. They don't pray, I want to become a gopi. This is all your material desires. This is not paka. This is not accepted. Anukuleda Krishna, according to Krishna's desire. Whatever Krishna wants. Lord Chaitanya says, I know no one, Ashlishava Parava, what is that word? Ashlishava Parava, Pinashtama Dasanama Mat Karotuva. I know no one as my Lord as Krishna. It shall remain be like this. And if he handles me roughly, by not being before me, even if he makes my heart broken-hearted, he can do with me whatever he wants. Not what I want, what Krishna wants. If he wishes me to be in distress, Lord Chaitanya prayed, then that distress is the greatest of my happiness. So absolutely no conditions. That is pure devotional service. But people want to go to Radha Krishna and they pray, oh my Lord, give me this and that, and give me this and give me that and that favor, and I have a problem in school and my degree, etc. That's not at all the mood of Vaishnava. In Hindu religion, people have no idea of Lord Chaitanya. Isn't that true? No idea of Lord Chaitanya. That Lord Chaitanya came, Krishna came in this age to free the whole world. Yet people stand in front of Radha Krishna, considering that that's the way to salvation. You know, Lord Chaitanya, he came, and what did he do? Yaradekata Aka Krishna Bades. He came to save mankind and tells us to do the same. And so we have to learn from that. We have to learn from that. We have to learn from our acharyas. Like Narottam Das Thakur, he made a prayer. Let me read of this. I have it here somewhere. Where is this? He said, being maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, who is it, Nityananda? What can he do for me? He says, who is this? You know, I want to go to Radha Krishna. What can they do for me? He says, actually want to approach the association of Radha Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. When he's merciful to you, you will be able to approach Radha Krishna. Therefore, you must firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda is understood to have spoiled the valuable human life. That's the point. You see, we have to understand that. That everything is in Shastra, not according to our own minds. I have so many ideas, there's so many religions. Why are there so many religions? Because people want to worship God according to their desire. If you ever stand in front of the gate of heaven The doorkeeper will ask, what you want in heaven? Oh, I want to become one with God. He said, yes, there's a religion. Go right here. Mayavad. Oh, I like to eat meat. Yes, there's religion. These religions of the world, they are created by Maya Devi to fulfill the needs of, on one side, religion, of the Prakrita Bhaktas, but at the same time to satisfy their desires. They are actually inaugurated by God through the agency of material nature, every religion. Because people have material desires, and so if you die in jihad, why people are enthusiastic to die in jihad? What is the result of jihad? They go to heaven and enjoy so and so many, 97 or whatever virgins. That's the motivation right there. Or for money. My dear Lord, Banka Bihari. How many people go to Banka Bihari? What do? They pray, they offer material prayers, because as much as Balaji is famous in South India to fulfill desires, in the North India it is Banka Bihari. They fulfill desires. So if you have desires, you should definitely go there. With the pure desire, my dear Banka Bihari, please let me become a pure servant of Krishna. That's the Bhaka desire to have, not anything else. So coming back to the idea of this verse, distributing prasadam, Prabhupada stresses the importance of it. In Brahmavavata Purana, when Ganga Devi cries to Lord Krishna, who is about to leave to the spiritual world, he said, what will happen to me? All the people will deposit their sins, their karma into my river. I will go down to Patala. Please, don't go. And Lord Krishna says, there's a plan. I have a plan number B. There's a plan B. And that plan B has 3 angas. What are the 3 angas? First he said, Ganga Devi, the chanting of the holy name will go all over the world. He said that. He's not just talking. He came 4,500 years later and inaugurated that plan B. Right there is Lord Chaitanya. He sent 500 years later Lord Srila Prabhupada, as predicted in Lord Chandas Thakur's prayers, that he will bring Krishna consciousness all over the world. So the whole thing is conceived 5,000 years ago. This movement is not new. Number 2, what is the second anga that he talked about in Bhagavatam? He says Bhagavatam will spread all over the world. It says in Bhagavatam, this Bhagavatam will cause a revolution in mankind, right? Swamiji, the Sastraji knows. It will cause a revolution in mankind. That's number 2. And what is the third anga? Anybody knows? Krishna says, people will begin to offer their food to me. Because it's essential. The voice of the Lord eat only food which is offered to God. Others who don't, they eat only sin. That's a very, very important element. One of the 3 elements that will change the Kali Yuga. Then, after explaining the 3 elements in Brahmavavata Purana, Prabhupada says, Krishna says, this will happen all over the world for 10,000 years. These informations come from Brahmavavata Purana. For 10,000 years, people will do that. Chant Hare Krishna, read scripture, Bhagavatam, and offer their food to me. These are the elements. And so Prabhupada also, when he came to the West, it was unbelievable. The temples filled up because of prasadam. The young people came like anything. The hippies were poor. They came to the temple and they started singing and dancing. And then they heard the perfect philosophy of Krishna consciousness. They got answers. They were Christians. Christianity cannot answer the question why the innocent suffer. I asked my priest when I was 10 years old, why did my brother die of cancer, a horrible death? Horrible, brain tumor, horrible. 3 years he was suffering like a dog. So I asked the priest, why? Where's God in all that? How does he allow that? He's everywhere, he knows everything. He said, I don't know. I don't know. I said, but it says in the Bible, as you sow, you reap. What has he sown? He was just a child. He said, I can answer that question. Then I told him, I said, therefore there's no God. Everything is just chance. If there would be God, he wouldn't allow it. Everything is just chance, random. Somebody has everything, somebody has nothing. Somebody suffers, somebody enjoys. There's nothing behind, there's nobody in control. That's the only conclusion you can come to if you believe there's only one life. When you see the cruelty of the world being so unevenly distributed. God, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu, he's equal to all. But when you see the world, somebody else suffers, somebody's enjoying. So that's the only conclusion. So, we understand that the innocent who suffer are not innocent. If you would be able to cross the threshold of the birth of that person to the death of that person into his next previous life, you can clearly understand that karma nirlevanetina, as Krishna says in Bhagavad, under my supervision, everybody suffers the reactions of his own deeds. You can clearly understand that, So if there's no clear concept of soul, people cannot understand. And there isn't a clear concept of soul in Abrahamic religion, Muslim religion, Christian religion, Jewish. There's no paka understanding what is soul. Not even Buddhists have an understanding. They understand that something is traveling. Prabhupada asked this question in Germany to Professor Durkheim, super famous Buddhist. He said, Professor Durkheim, what is traveling? You believe in reincarnation. What is traveling? He said, the mind. Prabhupada said, that's true. Yam yam apismaram bhavati artikalevaram tam tam vati where the mind is at the time of death, there you go. It's true, Prabhupada said. But that's only one wheel of the chariot. There's Manasarira, there's Buddhisarira, and there's Ahankara, subtle body. That's just a vehicle. Prabhupada said, who is traveling in this vehicle, Mr. Durkheim? He said, I have no idea. I have no idea. Prabhupada said, you are the soul. Your real identity is that you're a soul, an eternal servant of God. And he repeated it over and over again to him. You're not the body, you know that. Who are you? Your spirit soul. You're part of God. What is your duty? To serve God. 4 times he... By the end of the lecture, this super famous man, we were all young kids like you, 20, 25, I was 25, sitting there, hearing with rapt attention Prabhupada preaching to this super famous man. It's all known all over the world. He's the father of Zen Buddhism in Western countries. The man stood up. He said, Swamiji, let me pay you my respect. And he paid obeisances to Prabhupada, Dandavat, flat out, holding on to Prabhupada's foot. And said, please accept me as your brother. When I brought him to the airport, to the railway station, he said, Prabhu, I've met many swamis, many gurus, many mahants, many sadhus, many babas. I've met everybody in India you can possibly meet. Big incarnations, so many. In Europe, I talked to the Pope. I talked to just about everybody who is somebody. I have never met a person like Prabhupada. He's on the other side. He said, this is the greatest day of my life. That's Prabhupada. He gave us transcendental knowledge. He gave us defined knowledge of the soul that is missing in the rest of the world. There's no philosophy. Religion has to be reasonable. It is not reasonable to believe there's only one life and then somebody never hears of Jesus of Nazareth. In Korea, for example. And his parents are thieves. They tell the kid, go out and steal, I'm hungry. And he goes into he sees a bakery, there's windows open, he grabs a loaf of bread. And the baker grabs his hand. And there's a knife. And the boy kills the baker to get away. And a car runs him over. And he dies. And he goes to hell eternally. Can you believe such a thing? Does it make sense? He was conditioned to live in these circumstances. And eternal hell for what? Does it make sense to you? It didn't make sense to me when I was 10 years old. I opted out. So if you ask questions, people don't have answers because it is religion without philosophy. Prabhupada said it is sentimental. Religion has to be reasonable. If you study our scriptures, first thing, what is the first thing in Vedanta Sutra? First sentence, what is it? Aham Brahmasmi. 111. Aham Brahmasmi. I'm a spirit soul. I'm transcendental. That's the first thing we learn in Krishna consciousness. We are souls. We're not the body. We're not the mind. We're not the mind, not the intelligence, not the false ego. We are the soul. And that soul can never die. Never was a time that I did not exist, nor you, nor all these beings, nor will there be a time that will cease to be, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly. He who is born, death is certain. Who dies, birth is certain. Everything, as a soul in this body travels from youthhood, boyhood, old age, he goes into another body. Self-realized soul is not... Everything. You read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you're all set. That's all you have to read to understand this answer, to solve this problem. Why do the innocent suffer? Very easily you can understand if you can understand the nature of the soul. So we have to hear from Scripture. We have to serve Krishna according to his desire, not according to our ideas. There was one man in America, a famous singer, he sang, I do it my way. This thing and that thing, people say this and that, but I do it my way. And when the final curtain falls, this is his last song, he said, when the final curtain falls, when you die, then I can honestly say to myself, I did it my way. And then you stand in front of Yamaraj and you explain, Yamaraj, I did it my way. He said, yes, for that you can go to hell. Right away, you go to hell. Because that's the place where people go who do it their way. If you want to go to the spiritual world, you have to do it Krishna's way. Anukulena Krishnanu. That's the way. You have to give up all mental speculation. Why there are so many religions? Krishna's Kaviraj writes in Adi Lila, he writes this verse, that the world is full of theories about the absolute truth. So many theories about the absolute truth, which is full of the crocodiles of different theories. He writes a beautiful verse, that by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, even a child can cross the ocean, which is full of theories about the absolute truth, and full of crocodiles of the different theories. That's mundane religion. Therefore Krishna says, Sarva dharman pratityaja mamikam salam vraja. Give up all manu dharma. This dharma, that dharma. So many dharmas. Somebody was worshipping Donald Trump in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu. On an altar, he made a murti of Donald Trump. Then when Donald Trump didn't win the elections, he realized that he was not God. And he committed suicide. What a fool. He committed suicide because he was following his Manu Dharma. So there's so many Manu Dharmas, so many, this religion, that religion. And there's no conclusion because they're all based on the mind. Even in Christianity, you have 6,000 different Christian congregations that are not in agreement with each other. Why? Because they're based on the mind. My religion, your religion. I have my, even Prabhupada, I heard in America, one devotee told me, I have my own Prabhupada. Like Christians say, I have my own Jesus, this Jesus or that Jesus. It's all speculation. Prabhupada cut down the idea of speculation in all his preachings. One devotee was saying, Srila Prabhupada, I'm thinking, Prabhupada, don't do that. Don't do that, because Prabhupada understood that he was speculating. Sometimes, as soon as you sometimes I'm thinking, that means your thinking is not talking about something which is permanent. If your word permanent is knowledge, transcendental knowledge is permanent. See, sometimes I'm thinking, Prabhupada immediately understood, sometimes, okay, he's on the mental platform. Don't do that. The whole idea is to become chaste. And that means to see through the eyes of Shastra what's right and what's wrong. If we follow Prabhupada faithfully, we have discretion. Believe me, it's my experience also. You have discretion. If you don't follow Prabhupada Paka and you have your own ideas, you invent so many ideas. Prabhupada, when he left his body, I happened to be there, and he said right there, his servant gave him medicine. And Prabhupada asked, did you close the bottle? He said, no, Prabhupada, I forgot. Then Prabhupada said, that is your disease, all of you. You know how to open bottles, you don't know how to close them. You start so many new things. You're falling asleep. You start so many new things and you don't see the consequences. Prabhupada said, you start so many new things, you don't see the consequences of that. I'll give you an example. The famous American egalitarian lady, 50, 60 years ago, she was famous for her feminist attitudes. So she recently started a web page, surrenderedwife.com. You can look it up on the internet. She said, I wasted my life. I went through so many husbands, they all ran away from me because of my dominant nature. I have no children, I have no grandchildren. Don't follow this line, she said. Become a good wife. And she gives courses how to become a surrendered wife. That's why surrenderedwife.com. It's amazing. Within one lifetime, people can see anything that you concoct. There's no endurance in it. It's just a matter of time. All things must pass. What is modern today will be not modern tomorrow. And in the world of religion, there was one American religionist, he said, that religion that marries the spirit of the day, like a woman that marries the spirit of the day, will be a widow tomorrow. You understand? Will be a widow tomorrow. You understand? The religion that marries, if you marry somebody, he dies tomorrow, you're a widow. So in the same way, that religion that marries the spirit of the day will be a widow tomorrow, because the spirit of the day will change. What is modern today will be old-fashioned tomorrow. It always changes. The material nature. The mind is run by material nature. So we have to fix our mind on Krishna. We have to fix what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That is business. Krishna's opinion, Prabhupada's opinion is final. No other opinion is allowed. If you want to practice Krishna consciousness carefully, no other opinion is allowed. And in due course of time, it will be seen who's right and who's wrong. If you stick to Prabhupada's lotus feet, if you stick to Prabhupada's teachings, if you stick to Shastra, you can never make a mistake. If you depend on your mental speculation, you make one mistake after the other. That's why we are here. Even in the Bible, in the beginning, I mean, I know the Bible pretty good. In the beginning, there was a couple, Adam and Eve. You may have heard about Adam and Eve. They were living in paradise. And they were pure. They were actually naked, like naked sages, like Shukadev. And they didn't know that they were naked even. Then the snake came. There was a tree they were not supposed to touch, the tree of material life. The snake says, if you eat from this tree, you become as good as God. Oh, Adam couldn't resist. And she ate. And she realized she was naked and she became full of lust. She saw Adam was naked, became full of lust. And they fell from paradise. And Adam, his name was Dharma actually. Dharma became Adharma, Adam. You see, this is actually an old Sanskrit Dharma. He was Dharma, he was religion personified, and he became Adharma and fell from the spiritual world and became an ordinary human being. That's our fate. If you listen to this voice, to compete with Krishna, some envy there of Krishna, slightest envy, slightest desire to enjoy Krishna, we are finished. That's not the mood of those who are living in the spiritual world, all they know is to satisfy Krishna, to please Krishna, to do anything for Krishna. In the material world, what is the first word you learn in the material world? Mama. Mama means mine. What's the second word you learn? Papa means sin. I'm a matey, everything is mine. That's the mentality. This is mine. You go to any kindergarten, what do they do to the kids? This is my toy. No, it's my toy. Give me that toy. It's my toy. No, it's my toy. This is it, the material world. They're fighting from kindergarten on. This is mine and this is mine. Right? Because they don't listen to Shastra. You have to listen to Shastra. There's a verse of Tanakya Pandit, the king sees through his spies. Spies, he has spies, therefore king knows everything. He sends out, Ram has spies. So king sees through the spies, cow sees through the nose. The cow sniffs. If you put your hand to the cow, she starts to sniff, to understand you. And she is able to pick out of hundreds of hay, of that herb, that perfect herb. They have great nose, cows. Sees through the nose. The human being sees through his mind. Chanakya Pandit says, through his mind. And the sages, they see through scripture. Shastra Chakru. They see through scripture. So we have to see things philosophically. And we can see things philosophically if we see through the eyes of Shastra. Not what the world says. The world, we are not concerned with that, whatever the world says. I cannot resist to read to you what Srila Prabhupada said about that. He was discussing with the director of welfare. Where's my spectacle? Any idea? He was discussing with the director of public welfare. And he said, this man said, but the people want this, the people want that. The people have this opinion, that opinion. Swamiji, you're speaking very strongly. You don't consider what the world says. And I want to read to you, I cannot resist what Prabhupada says to that. Wait a minute. So there's a very highly placed government official discussing what is good for the world. So we have to listen to the opinion of the people and give them what they need and what they want. Prabhupada said, what is the value of the opinion when people are like dogs and asses? What is the use of taking the opinion of an ass? This vox populi, taking opinion of the public, is degrading the whole society. If the public is composed of drunkards, smokers, meat eaters, gambling, and women hunters, then what is the value of their opinion? Why taking opinion of fourth-class men? What Krishna says, that is standard. Krishna's version is final. No other opinion is allowed, as I said. No other opinion is allowed. When I introduced the principle of no illicit sex, I didn't ask for public opinion. It must be done, boss. That's what Prabhupada said. It's simple, Our problem is not to please the public. Our problem is to please Krishna. That's the point. And then our movement will be very successful. Prabhupada's life, from the beginning to the end, was to please Krishna. He had no other considerations. And therefore he became completely successful and could create what we have now. In the same way, since we are here in Delhi, Gopal Krishna Maharaj also, his only desire is to please Prabhupada. And therefore, look at it, one temple after another. Every time I come to Delhi, there's another temple. Now we have 17. Last time I was here, we had 13. It's just blossoming because the idea to please Krishna is very profitable. It's the best idea to do anything right. Then you have Krishna on your side. There's Krishna on your side. I tell you a funny story. There was one devotee, Parthasarthi Prabhu, and he was an American soldier. He signed up with the American Army for 10 years contract. So when he came to war in Iraq, he asked me, what shall I do? Shall I go or not? I said, well, you have to sign up with the army. If you don't go, they put you into jail, right? If you go, you may survive. So he told his superiors, there was a general there. I said, I have to ask my guru, my mentor. So they said, go. When he came back, his 2-star general was there, officers were there, asking him, and what did he say? What did he say? And he said I should go to war. The general said, with Krishna on our side, we cannot lose this war. With Krishna on our side, we cannot lose this war. The general said. And so in Iraq, he had Ratha Yatra, this boy. He performed Ratha Yatra. He gave lectures, even high up generals would come and listen to his lectures. Many boys died in his arms because he taught them how to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. He did tremendous good because he was fighting for Krishna. So we have to keep this in mind, that the mind, what is the ugliest part of the body? Some people say it's your nose. There was a song. Some people think it's your toes, but actually it is your mind. It's the ugliest part of the body, right? We should not trust our minds or the minds of materialists. We have to trust Krishna. His instructions are supreme. He spoke Bhagavad Gita for us. So forget about all this. If you fix your mind upon me, you can cross over all difficulties of material life by my grace. That is, even material, you can cross over all difficulties. Machita sarva durgani matpasaram taresyasi. All difficulties created by Durga. Machita, direct your consciousness towards me. Machita sarva durgani, all difficulties that come from Durga, matpasaram, by my mercy, taresyasi, will be destroyed. If you do not act in this consciousness, but act through false ego, I want to do this, I want to do that. I think this, I think that. I want to go here, I want to go there. He said, if you act through false ego, you not hearing me, you will be lost. That's the verdict of Bhagavad Gita right there. So those who follow their own minds, those who follow Manodharma, those who don't take shelter in Prabhupada, don't take shelter in Scripture, don't take shelter in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, in Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, they're lost. They're lost. This it means to surrender to Krishna, to hear from Krishna. And whatever Krishna likes, we should try to do. Then we are successful. I thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premananda Haribol. You have any questions? Anybody? Yeah. You woke up.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhuji, like you were saying that that religion which marries the spirit of the day, because it's going to become a widow one day and it's going to...
Oh, I don't hear anything.
You were saying that that religion that marries the spirit of the day, that's going to become a widow tomorrow, it's going to die tomorrow. That religion that is going to become the spirit of the day,
Yeah.
that's going to die tomorrow.
No, religion that marries the spirit of the day will become a widow tomorrow. A widow.
Yeah.
That means it may be fashionable to follow modern idea of religion, but tomorrow your religion will be finished. That's what it means, Therefore we have to stick to our guns. Vedic knowledge is around since thousands of years. Religions come and go. In America, one person told me, I said, what's your religion? I said, I worship Elvis Presley. He said, why? Elvis is God. Elvis loves you, he told me. This is all nonsense, If people follow their mind, it is all nonsense. It doesn't make sense. There's no future in it. Anything outside of Sampradaya There's no future in it. It will last for some time, may look very big, very fashionable, but it will fade away. All things must pass, except transcendent knowledge. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premananda Hare.